networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
March to the Education Department for a National Day of Action Monday, demanding the Biden administration cancel all student debt. This is Braxton Brewington, press secretary at the Debt Collective.
I have tens of thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt. My mother has student loan debt. My father has student loan debt. My brother has student loan debt. My sister has student loan debt. My aunts have student loan debt. This is a systemic problem. Black folks are bearing the burden of student debt. Women are bearing the burden of student debt.
To watch our interview with Braxton Brewington and Astra Taylor, go to democracynow.org. This is Astra Taylor.
We can see that our debts are a source of power. Individually, they overwhelm us, but together, we can wield that power as leverage to push for a better system, to fight for the abolition of unjust debts and the provision of the things that we need to survive, to thrive.
The Debt Collective is demanding President Biden fulfill a campaign promise to cancel student debt before federal student loan payments restart in May. Debt cancellation would give relief to some 45 million borrowers who owe nearly $1.8 trillion in student debt. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy.
What do y'all think about student debt? Canceling student debt.
That's a touchy subject, like talking about, the gay community.
It is a touchy subject. It is. People be getting heated on this subject.
I'm gonna be pissed because I paid my shit off. I want my.
But you know what though? I'm glad Pat said that. Because there's people out here in this world. There's people within this country. African Americans are black people that go to school that go to school on student loans and that go to work and they do their part to pay their debt back. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you have a debt, you created a debt for yourself. I know it was to further your education so that you could better provide for yourself, but dude, we're already a country that's in a deficit. To forgive $1.7 trillion in college student loan debt, come on, man. Like, you created this debt. You went to school. Okay, well, I didn't get a job in the field that I went to school for. Well, maybe you should have taken something else, like people that go to school to be a social worker. Like, what the fuck? They don't make any money. Harris County social worker makes about $26,000 to $30,000 a year. Why would you go get $200,000 in debt to be a social worker? Like,
because you want to help.
Degrees like gender studies.
I could defend this. Gender studies is whatever, but social worker, you want to help people. You want to help the community.
But they want to help people, and then they get in that job, dude, and they treat underprivileged people that come in there seeking help like shit. They treat them like shit because they're frustrated with their fucking career that they chose to go to school for. They chose to do this job. You chose to do this. You knew what it paid coming into it. It's very stressful. It's very hectic. And then you treat a senior citizen who's coming in,
but you're blaming the
Social Security.
You're blaming the individual.
But that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why especially those subjects should be free. Because I mean, if you're trying to do a social, like be a social activist for, working with the people, this, that, and the other, like they shouldn't. And knowing that you can't, I mean, they know as well as you should. But if you're trying to do a humanitarian act, the government should, really write that type of stuff off.
No, y'all looking at it totally wrong, because why the fuck do they not care about people getting humanitarian stuff? How come there's not money in that area? How come the teachers aren't getting paid shit?
But that's what Pat is saying. That's what Pat is saying. Things like that, people like that, because they don't have that in place. Pat is simply saying that they should forgive that, or at least if they can't, make it free
But that's on the
going
back
forward.
end. I'm
You know,
saying
make that free going forward.
that's on
But
that's on the back end. What I'm saying is we don't even have the attitude. Our attitude is wrong about dealing with social issues. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
It's because it's like there's no money in helping people.
well,
So it's all the degrees at my school that it's economics and stuff. It's all about engineering and shit because that's about making money. Something that's
yeah.
helping people. There's no benefit in that. As a society, we look at it like there's no benefit in that. So we don't fund it.
Well, no. See, I mean, it's way deeper than that because I mean, debt itself is a psychological op. Like it's it's a psyop because as long as they can keep you mentally in debt to something, that will keep your ass working and keep
Hamster
you
wheel.
keep the government moving in all of these different areas. So they got to keep
Taxes.
all of those cranks turning in within the clock, one going this way, that one going, and it's making
Yep.
the whole one thing work in
Right.
one motion. So I mean, that's really the deeper effect of the debt idea because yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I pay my debt off, but at the same time I feel for the people who are dealing with especially you know student debt because really regardless these state most of them are state funded, so the
Yeah.
professors, the teachers, and all that should be paid for, but
But they're private
because if
businesses,
the
so they make money, and the students are its product or whatever. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I mean, I can't necessarily say the private. I mean, yeah, I can't
They
really say that
are.
they're private.
They're
If
private
they're being
companies. They all
if they're
make money.
being
They all have stock whatever you call it. Doc, clear it up for me. They all make money literally. They all make money. I can't think of how to explain it right now, but the universities are private. They make money. They're a private
well,
business. They make money every year. And
I,
they give
I
money to their stockholders and all that, just like any other corporation.
so I can buy
shit, I'm
stock
beginning to think
in a
that the local
university.
schools.
If I
I'm
would have
beginning
known
to
that,
think
I would
that
have
the
done that
local
a long
schools
time
are.
ago. Because especially like, bro, I'm gonna tell you, like, the biggest example for me is LSU, bro. They got money from every which way.
They making all
You know what
kind
I'm
of
saying?
money, and then you got
Yeah,
the what do you call it? The alumni.
but
That's
and
one of the
and,
reasons why Harvard and them are so big
but
because they produce these people that make a bunch of money, and they donate a whole bunch of it to the that
but
alumni shit that they do.
but
So then
I
they're
know,
getting state,
but
then they're getting state funding, then they're getting tax exempts all over the place. A
they get
university is
they,
what you
say,
want to.
bro.
That's a business to go into.
Say, bro, the monies that they get, because I know, like, just recently they got the contract to grow marijuana for Louisiana, like the medical marijuana that they have in Louisiana. Like, they got one of the biggest contracts that there is to do that. Like, they still trying to find like smaller growers to be able to, be a part of it because that's like I think a part of the deal that it has to have, you know they have to allow for smaller people to do it. But it's really insane because when they do this whole thing, when they're growing, like they're gonna be selling it to the you know American Medical Association or some big some corporation that's making these medicinal products, and there's gonna be a bunch of money to come back from that. What from just doing that, like it's creating new revenue. So it's like like honestly, like they make so much money outside of tuition, and
That's
a
what
lot
make
of
me
people,
think that
a
these.
lot of people, a lot more people would finish school if they didn't have the stress of like we could
But
actually have more educated people that will go and finish school because like most of the people that end up with these this crazy little debt where it's harder for them to pay for it is those who enter school and have to drop out, and now you at McDonald's working a job because okay, that's the only thing you can get in your little town, and you still got this debt sitting on your back, and you can't really live your life the way you want to because you got this lingering over you. You got that monkey
It's
on
like
your
you
on.
better get a job after you graduate. You know what I'm saying? And right away too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
better
and
get a
I
job
think
or create a
most people don't
business.
mind that. Most people don't mind getting a job, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm in school. I gotta go work so that I can provide for myself just to be able to make it, like to eat and live while I'm going back and forth to school. I fall behind on my grades because I had to work and live just to, be able to
That's
get
me.
back and forth. You know what I'm saying? So I
That's my
mean,
life.
that's the people that I really I feel for because I mean they want to do the right thing. They're trying to do something to progress their lives and the futures for their family. But you know the hindrance of this debt is what really is a core problem. I mean, we're not talking about the poor people. I mean, we're not talking about the rich people who can just write a check for their kids to go to whatever school they want to. It's mostly those who, and that's probably who they're worried about passing that bill for because those are people that's going to be upset. Well, I need a refund.
And that's what's gonna happen, bro. The hate that's in the United States. The reason why they can't do it is because it will be too much like reparations. Blacks and Hispanics will overwhelmingly benefit if they were to get rid of student loan debt. Now, white people and others, Asians will too. So, but that's why I don't understand. But the world we live in is so crazy that okay, well, that's gonna overwhelmingly support black people. Oh hell's no! Even if it benefits me, oh hell's no! That's the same reason why we can't have Medicare for all. Let me read Doc's comment. It says that is just another link in the.
You need to reset your mic. You're pinging and skipping.
I'm skipping. I'm gonna reset my internet. Is what I'm gonna do. Doc says debt is another link in the
Well,
chain that is used to bind us all.
well,
I'm gonna read.
what you just said is one of the major things is why we don't have universal health care in America is because they don't want black people to benefit from it.
That's what I was saying. I'm gonna read. Go ahead, y'all talk about it. I'm gonna reboot.
Yeah, like like the whole idea of debt. The system is built around debt. I mean, they got rid of the gold and silver because I mean that's the only real money that really exists, or that is legal for really any government. But because of the you know
Like I said, debt
overspending,
is the new change. Debt's the
yeah.
new change. It's no longer about color. It's about class, upper and
Well,
lower, because they're killing the middle class to do all this.
well, that's true. I mean, I agree with you there, but it is still about race to some extent because I mean, yes, I mean because see, one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that it wasn't only black people that was enslaved. Like there were people that are considered white people today that were considered black people in the past. So I mean, we really have to look at the whole political part of what black is. And there's a lot of white, like I said, technically white people these days that would have fallen into that same category 100 years ago, or maybe a little more than 100 years ago. But honestly, because they don't want certain people to truly benefit from the society, the government that they built, the systems that they built, they don't want certain people to benefit from it. That's why there is no universal health care. That's why there's not free school for all, you know, even if it was just 2 years. But I mean they could really do every what no like even all the way up to PhDs. People can get doctorates without paying and not hurt the government
At
because I
all.
mean
Because,
When
and that's what I say. I think it's too much like reparations. That's why they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. It's like it becomes political.
well, yeah, but I mean, anything that's too close to right is gonna be a fight about it because, like I said, I mean, there's mainly because I don't want to say it's only black people, but I mean, shoot, I don't think they necessarily want Mexicans, but because I know that like even immigrants can't come to college and even get loans. They have
Well,
to.
remember, Mexicans are the new black people right now.
I would agree with that comment, Doc.
I
I
don't
would
know.
agree with that.
I don't agree with that because
It's
they
a
still.
hierarchy.
I
They
think
place
they're
us
treated
above them.
more today like black people were treated in the early '80s.
Yeah, there's some there's some truth to what Doc is saying. I would agree with it because there's a hierarchy. The class system is what we're talking about, really. There's a
Yeah,
class system, but in the United
they
States, it
would
tends to be
they would move the
along racial
Mexicans
lines.
above. They move the Mexicans above us.
Nah,
Yeah,
not if they're from Mexico. That's what I was trying to explain before. If they're from Spain, yes. Mexico, no. Telling you, bruh. Telling you, it's so true. And the real reason is because they're aboriginals. Let me I'm gonna switch the topic. Because I have to cover this because I put it in the name of the show. The name of the show is What Is Alive? And we're at freaking 3 hours, so I really have to like talk about it. Because I really hate to make it. That's why sometimes I'm scared about the titles. Because I don't want to be like somebody gonna be like he's spamming or what's the word? Misrepresentation, catfishing. I don't know what the word is, but when you're misrepresenting, I really don't want to do that. So the name of the show, the name of the show is What Is Alive, and we haven't talked about that. So
oh my
I want to
God.
talk.
Is the word you're looking for?
Yeah, I think I need to exit now.
This is interesting, bro. I
No,
swear. they gotta
I
put
mean, it's interesting, but I mean, I've listened to different conversations on some of this topic. I watched the video, and
you
I've
did? You
listened
saw
to
this? This
the
one I'm about to
zygotes
show?
and stuff.
This one is what the hell is this? How we accidentally started making infinite robots.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same shit, like the zygotes and stuff. Like the different organisms that, because I mean, yeah, I mean, you can. All right, go ahead and play it. We'll have the
At
discussion.
the end of the video, I'm not gonna play the whole video. I'm gonna skip through it. But at the end of the video, she says they're not alive. They're basically robots, but they have living tissue. They have found a way to use. They like to use heart muscles, heart skin muscles and shit. But they can. They know how to make it contract or whatever using light or electricity or something like that. So basically, they're robots. But it's really interesting because one of the robots that they created, it reproduced itself, and they was like, "Whoa!" So, and that's the future. Like every damn movie says that shit. I need to close this damn door. The damn robots becoming self-aware and shit. Some
Well,
kind of
there's some creatures that they find new create creatures. Like there's like a mandate to kill off any new creatures you find. But if somebody makes it in a lab, it's okay to keep it.
I feel you. I feel you, Pat. I feel you. It's the question is this, like we always ask,
What
is just because you can do something, should you?
exactly? Like that's my whole point. Like, what benefit is it really? You're playing around with different stuff. Like, we got
Well,
viruses that's
I'm a
sitting
defend
waiting.
them. I'm gonna
There's,
defend
there's,
them.
I
And
know, I know, I already know, I know, I
but
already.
just to be, I agree with you, Pat. But just to give the argument, their argument is that they're like in this example in this video, they want to use this technology to like help heal people. Like it can go up in your blood cell and take out the plaque and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Though.
I know, but that's it. But all right, my biggest problem is, especially in these type of conversations, like they bring in certain conversations that just don't add up. When they start talking about, the difference between these types of organisms and these zygotes or whatever, that you can now compare it to abortion. Like is a fetus really alive? And it's just like, come on, bro. Like, you like they bring extreme.
There is an argument with that, but that's science, though. Like, the science loves to argue stuff. Intellectuals, academics. That's all academics really do. That's another reason why, like,
a bunch of them are dumb.
That's another reason why academics is like, because I've been looking at people and I see people that's real strong in academics and like really popular or famous even within the academic circles, but outside of that, nobody knows who the hell they are. And as far as their impact on the world,
because they're great debaters. That's because they're awesome fucking debaters. They got the science down on how to debate in pretty much any conversation, which I have great respect for. But at the same time, like, can we pay more attention to things that's more beneficial to us? And like, are we really gonna rely on these organisms to change the world?
That's what I was about to say, because the people who make changes usually don't come from the academics. These are people academic people just argue over subjects. But what I can say though is the writings and even the spoken words of these academics have inspired countless revolutionaries. They always go back to somebody that they was reading. What's this dude from Black Panthers? Anyways, it don't matter. Y'all know, if y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't think right now. Like, I want to close the door. I'm trying to play this video. My brain's going too fast. Let me play this right here.
Time. People
I'm probably
have
gonna get in trouble for
worked
this
out
too.
all the ways that life can exist on this earth. There's the plants, the fungi, the multicellular animals, the archaea, the bacteria, and the protists.
I'm sorry,
but this particular creature doesn't fall into any of these categories.
What are you gonna say?
And its existence has sparked one of the greatest debates in modern science. If you were to observe these organisms under a microscope, you'd see them propel themselves around, moving forward, backwards, sometimes spinning in a circle. If you were to scatter some particles around them, they will round them up and make little piles, organizing the debris. Their motion and behavior
I was starving though. I didn't eat nothing. And then I was tired and I had been kind of working out and shit.
Can heal damage, retain information, and even work together. But these
Did you eat those
organisms
steaks?
were
Yeah, I
not
should have
born
waited.
out of millions of years of evolution.
There's still some stuff
They were
in there. I probably
instead
go to the grocery
designed by
store tomorrow.
computers and
grab a
built
couple
by
things.
human hands.
You're using too much butter.
Xenobots, as they are called, are synthetic life forms.
I don't
or
like to buy
living
that cheap
robots,
butter because it's
and
bad for
consist
you.
of two
Chaka.
things: skin
So-
cells and heart cells from the
Chaka.
dog Xenopus laevis,
Can you not hear
after
us?
which they are named. They are the first
Just make sure you close the
man-made
door when you go
organism
out, please.
and an entirely new type of living system. And one day, scientists hope that they will help us monitor radioactivity, combat pollution, or even cure disease. When they were
Y'all hear that?
I missed it. You were talking.
Your conversation with your
Oh, y'all can hear me? I thought I turned down my mic.
no, that's what we was trying to tell you. You turned down your volume. Must have been. Well, yeah.
Oh,
Nah,
shit.
we missed a good bit of it because we was listening to the conversation you had.
My bad. I really thought I had turned on the mic. Well, let me run it back then.
What is the definition of life? For a long time, people have thought that we've worked out all the ways that life can exist on this earth. There's the plants, the fungi, the multicellular animals, the archaea, the bacteria, and the protists. But this particular creature doesn't fall into any of these categories, and its existence has sparked one of the greatest debates in modern science. If you were to observe these organisms under a microscope, you'd see them propel themselves around, moving forward, backwards, sometimes spinning in a circle. If you were to scatter some particles around them, they will round them up and make little piles, organizing the debris. Their motion and behavior even resemble that of other microscopic organisms. They are motile, can heal damage, retain information, and even work together. But these organisms were not born out of millions of years of evolution. They were instead designed by computers and built by human hands. Xenobots, as they are called, are synthetic life forms, or living robots, and consist of two things: skin cells and heart cells from the frog Xenopus laevis, after which they are named. They are the first man-made organism and an entirely new type of living system. And one day, scientists hope that they will help us monitor radioactivity, combat pollution, or even cure disease.
Don't that sound like the beginning of like a horror movie?
And people wonder where the hell the zombie apocalypse is going to come from.
Exactly, bro. Because like my thing is, I mean, you know, we just came through a pandemic of something that came from a similar route. You know, something that was played around with in labs, and you know, a mistake happened supposedly, and you know, we're looking at deaths that's, you know, that came from it. So like, to me, it's like, why are we playing around with these things instead of allowing the natural progression of things, where, you know, there's no, you know, abrupt changes that we have to deal with because of this type of stuff.
What happens when we come across a disease that affects those things?
What's that?
He said, what happens if we come across a disease that affects those things?
Well, I mean that would make more sense, but at the same time, you know, if they wasn't doing, you know, because I mean, what they're doing in the labs, they're testing it and see what it takes to progress it, what makes it stronger, what makes it more dangerous, what, you know, like, and maybe even trying to make a you know, a medicine, because it's never going to be a cure, but something that could be, you know, something that could make it milder, like, you know, you're playing with it just to see what it.
Next is to program it and direct it to alter, improve, or affect specific structures or areas of the body.
And it's all going to be economically driven, Pat. So, like, whatever the science, that's what I'd be saying about the research. The research has to be funded.
And then they make the ones that'll eat your heart. All someone's got to do is touch you with it on there, and it tracks to your DNA, and you're dead.
No telling. Like somebody who wants to be the sneakiest killer in the world, like an assassin. So, what I'm saying is, it'll be economic. It'll be, you know, benefits to this research. Like, you know, they just want to sell something to somebody, and like cleaning the plaque out of your artery, instead of telling us to exercise and drink more water. That's okay. Don't exercise, drink more water. We just made up this robot that'll clean the plaque out of your shit. Fuck it. Have some more bacon.
Say, bro, they got this thing, is a slime, some kind of slime thing that they can.
I saw that. That's actually no. I saw that already. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that's a very great technology right there. I think that's going to be very useful medically. I saw that video. I know what you're talking about. It caught my eye, so I looked into that shit. And I think that that's a great technology. I'm sorry. Some of this stuff is good. It's just like everything. A knife is, you know, can be used for both ways. I think that particular technology is going to be used to like help people, save people's lives. Like, really, they're going to be able to do surgeries with that, and it's going to be non-invasive. But they're already cutting people open. What did Dr. Sebi say? Dr. Sebi say if God wanted us to be opened up, he would have put a zipper on us. And I think that's some fucking that's some heavy ass shit to think about. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to fix our body without cutting us open. You know, that's like our medical stuff is so like archaic. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It was just in, what was it, World War II? I think it was a World War I not that long ago. They would just cut your leg off if you got shot in the foot or some shit like that. They literally with a saw out there just that wasn't that long ago. Our medical hasn't come that far from that. We still on that open up, cut shit out type attitude. But that technology you're talking about is not gonna be that. That's gonna be different, and it's gonna be non-invasive.
But that's not invasive. sending something down into your body to claim it and bring it back out, or being able to manipulate the slime with
I think
magnets or
it's
what.
yeah. I was looking at that and the technology on that. It looks good to me. It looks good to me. It looks good to me
Yeah.
because another thing is that the substance that it was made out of is, even though it's all black and shit, it doesn't look like something that, like, if pieces of it came off in you, that it's really going to be a problem in your system. You know what I'm saying? So I think that one is good.
So
I
is
don't.
this
We'll
thing
probably
is
look up
this
the
thing
video
totally
and show it
is this
tomorrow.
thing totally non-toxic?
Yes. I mean, as best of their ability, they're gonna make it that way. Yeah, to the best of their ability. It just looks all ugly and shit, but it's benign. I think it's like saline and shit. That's what it made out of. That's like sugar and some shit. You know what I'm saying? It's perfectly like, I think that particular technology is good. This one in this video is scaring me. Like they made some robots that that reproduced itself. Like the name of the video is how we accidentally started making infinite robots.
And before you know it, we're gonna have some damn shit that like a damn gremlin. It gets wet and then all of a sudden it's just everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. And something that we couldn't predict, something that we didn't see coming. Because that's how it always happens in the movies, right? Like in the comic books and shit. It's like the guy, he was trying to do something, and then this whole other thing happens as a result of it. Some shit that and he was a really smart guy. If the bad guys in the comic books are always really smart. They know a lot of shit. And so, but still, you don't know everything, and sometimes it be the repercussions, the long-term repercussions of your actions it's hard to be.
But the common
predict.
theme, the common theme too with the comic books is that a lot of the people who turn out evil with this evil plan usually started out trying to do something good.
Right. That's what it is. The good guy turns into a villain once he gets old. That's what I be saying. The comic books, the good guy is always young.
Like Brundlefly.
Brundlefly. You talking about having to do with the fly? Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is the good guy is in the comic books. The good guy tends to be, the hero. He's a young guy, and the bad guy is an old mad scientist guy. You know what I mean? But that old guy used to be the hero. He just got nihilist, and now he's like, fuck it. I'm instead of saving this hoe, I'm gonna destroy this hoe. That's how I'm gonna help it. It's like the idea of what's his name from the Super Thanos. What? Let me ask y'all this, because this is pretty philosophical. The idea of Thanos, right? Was he a good guy or was he a bad guy? Really? Because yeah, go ahead.
I think overall he was a good guy.
I think so too. I think the narrative was, but then too, this is touchy, slippery area, because we have to mention like Hitler, and I think that's what they was thinking about. But Thanos, the way his idea of it was totally democratic. Like it was like half of all life. Like, nigga, we ain't everybody can get it.
Well, I mean,
the comic book, the reason he did it was a whole lot different.
Okay, explain, because I don't read those comics.
Well, in the comic, he's in love with Death's daughter, Lady Death. And the only reason he killed half of humanity was he's trying to get into her pants to impress her.
That would make him a bad guy.
Yeah.
That changed the narrative completely.
That's pretty simple. But I mean, based on the movie,
they kind of glossed over that part in the movie.
Okay. Well, based on the movie, he doesn't sound like a bad guy to me. And even though what he did maybe not was a good thing, but his heart was in the right place as far as. But what I say about slippery slope on that is how we could end up, going down that slippery slope, because we talk about the guide stones in Georgia. Y'all know about those? like 220,000, I think is the number they have, or is it 500,000? Like humans should not exceed that number, to keep the earth in balance.
500 million.
I don't know what the number is.
Yeah,
So
I think at one point it was saying 500 billion, so that would be 500 million.
yeah,
No,
so
500 billion. No, I mean no. No, there's how many is it? It's 8 billion. Yeah, so yeah, it has to be a half a
so
billion. I'm sorry.
so it's like they're
I,
saying the guy stuff is saying, okay, well, we need to get rid of a lot of the people on here, and then it's a lot of people with that argument. And I think that we have abundant resources. The number of the population that we have is not the problem. You know what I'm saying? It's distribution of the resources is the problem. You know what I'm saying? This hierarchical, classic society that we live in, that's the issue. You know what I'm saying?
Logistics.
Yeah,
Logistics is the problem. I've been saying that since I've been on here.
yeah. So so we don't really have, but the idea of Thanos being a bad guy, I think about this a lot because he really cared. I think he really cared, and when you look at the politicians and stuff that we have today, how many of them do you get the feeling they really care? Like they really give a fuck?
very few, and I think the ones who do get their minds change once they get into office because all the people that's been there and that's in power, for them to be able to change all the stuff that they already have in the works and these agendas that's been working for 100 years already, it's gonna be hard to break them. Because I mean, for one, like whether people believe it or not, even a lot of our senators probably have connections with other senators that's been in office already, or some other positions that hold significance to where they can make changes even in their small offices. You know what I'm saying? It's the system, bro. Like I mean, a lot of times it's not just that one office, but being able to manipulate people in different areas is where.
And like I said earlier, I think we have a good structure. It's the integrity is bad, so we can use the structure that we have, already built, and put the right people in the right places. And I think with the system that we have, we can use that system to fix all this shit. Really. Let me play a bit more of this. What's up, Curtis? Let me play a bit more of this.
When they were first created, Xenobots were already testing the boundaries of how we define life. But then something truly startling happened. They started to spontaneously reproduce, making new copies of themselves in a way that science has never observed before. How is it possible for scientists to create a new type of life form? And why did they in the first place? How will these tiny creatures one day be of great use to us? And what can they tell us about the nature of life itself? Sometimes called soft robotics, the field of biorobotics is a relatively new one. Much like classic robotics, it aims to solve human problems by constructing machines. But instead of using steel, nuts, and bolts, the key raw material for biorobotics is living tissue. It's a discipline that integrates biology with mechanical design. Biohybrid robots are generally composed of muscle tissue, either cardiac or skeletal, and an artificial scaffold.
Biohybrid robots.
And the benefit of using biology in robotics is substantial. Biological components have unique characteristics that artificial materials can't exactly replicate. Their greater flexibility enables them to move more like living organisms than machines. They can also quickly and naturally respond to external stimuli. Some could even heal from damage or injuries. Artificial structures are also prone to entropy, the gradual decline into disorder, the crumbling of concrete, the rusting of metals, the breakdown of plastics. But living organisms are in a constant battle against entropy. They preserve their internal order by taking energy from their surroundings. This quality alone could allow biobots to far surpass the useful lifetimes of even our best artificial technologies.
So that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared they're gonna put if they stick an AI into algorithm into one of those things, then you got an AI robot. You got a living robot.
Which we already have enough of.
That's what's scary. Stick an algorithm in that thing. It's scary. And that's what they're going to do eventually.
One of the earliest examples of soft robotics is this creation, made in 2014.
Hold on, let me see.
Muscles. Changing the voltage on the left or right side, the muscles compress or contract, causing this articulation that can be used to pick things up or move things around.
See, they made like a little clamp thing out of it. Hold on, let me see.
And then they work together well.
Talking about the damn manipulating the damn frog embryos and shit. Hold on, let me see. They just fucking with shit. Oh, this is where they did a simulation. This is how they came up with the algorithm. Basically, it is like an algorithm already, the little muscle. They did like simulations, a whole bunch of simulations, and the one that worked is the one they put into this thing.
Then combined in a random way by the AI, and then placed into an evolutionary algorithm, which can evolve the digital Xenobot over time, creating iteration after iteration until it displays the desired behavior. At first, the algorithm makes completely random designs. These digital bots don't exhibit any interesting behaviors beyond just sort of wiggling a bit. But after many thousands of generations, eventually the algorithm will produce a digital Xenobot with the desired behavior, moving forward. The final design of the first digital Xenobot was a little blob with leg-like appendages that it could use to scuttle in a walking-like motion. The scientists then make the Xenobot in the lab with the same configuration, sticking the correct cells together and sculpting it into the right shape. And sure enough, when placed in their aquatic petri dish, the bots started walking. And when placed in an orientation facing to the right, they generally always walked to the right. As hoped, the AI quite accurately predicted the way that the bots would move. The pink lines show the movement that the AI predicted, and the blue lines show the actual movement of the Xenobots. With this predictable movement, the next step was to put the Xenobots to the test, to see if they could move through varied environments, in mazes ranging from wide-open fields to tubes as small as half a nanometer in diameter, smaller than the diameter of a human capillary. In all cases, the Xenobots followed the path provided by the environment. Traditional robots would have a lot of trouble navigating something this small, but the Xenobots could
see that part right there is kind of interesting. I ain't gonna lie on my scientific side, because looking at that, you can see how that could be useful. We don't have any technology to move around in your capillaries like that. We don't have anything for that right now.
Do so with ease. Soon, different types of locomotion were created in the bots, including bots with small cilia that beat, giving forward motion. These ones like to spin in circles. The scientists also noticed that if they injured the Xenobots, after about 10 minutes, the wounds would close and the bots would heal up. Researchers are still working to understand the intricacies of this.
They don't even understand that shit? How you gonna not understand it, bro? You the one made that shit. They're talking about they cut it and then it heals itself? Damn, bro. See, that's scaring me, bro. That shit look like the Blob.
Within 10 minutes.
Shit, they need to inject that shit at me right now. I come rich.
But, bro, that's like what's the that movie? Terminator, was it Terminator when the dude he was made of mercury or whatever and just shoot his head off and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, Terminator 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, bro. That's some crazy ass. Hey, but you know what? There is a I don't know if you call it a think it's some type of a slug. It's like real slimy, right? And you see them sometime hanging around your house somewhere, normally at night. But it's like this real slimy like deal, man. And I never forget. Like my daughter was scared of one night, so like I like kicked it with my shoe, and it split in half. But when it split in half, like it like went inside its body or something, and it literally came back longer. I was like, what the hell? I forget what they call that little dude. It looks kind of like a slug without the.
Are you talking about a centipede?
Maybe that is a centipede. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's real
centipedes are the,
slimy without any hair on it. It's just real slimy.
yeah, because worms can do that too. You can cut a worm in half, and if you observe it, then it actually becomes another. It replaces itself, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Right, because I believe that life doesn't want to die. I don't think it wants to decease. We always think of something bigger. We all know we're going to pass away one day, but our genes, our life carries on regardless of what we do. Everybody thinks that when we die, that's the end of the world. No, it's always going to continue moving forward.
It's the part of the cycle, and life. The main driver of life is to kind of like keep on living, but not in that one physical body or whatever. It's to live forever. Life wants to live forever, so it's gonna do what it can to live forever.
That's the artificial intelligence that we're looking for.
But look,
life wants to live forever. That's a great point, King.
Look, let me add this, because you know y'all sound a little bit crazy to me right now. Because for one, why would you want to, like, you're creating something? And well, let me make this first one, because if they're showing us this, there's probably some other shit that they've already created that they not telling us about. And then why would you create something that could potentially replace you, or potentially get rid of you, and it's, you know, running the world or whatever, like becoming our own demise, because we want to play around with some shit that, you know, just
double-edged sword, I'd say, because they might fuck around and discover something that really helps humanity. It really helps.
Oh, that will definitely not be a part of the agenda. No, if it's gonna help humanity, no.
I think with what
Great
they're
point.
doing right now is they're trying to find a way to replace humanity. You know, and they're getting very close with the shit that they're doing and the shit that they're not even mentioning about. This video was one that they could just throw out there and people will be interested, but you know, they're trying to replace humanity, bro. Like they're trying to get rid of us.
Listen. This is my theory on this. So, you know, my opinion, you know, because the people who are in power realize that their numbers are dwindling. They never gave a shit about the world to begin with. They were very selfish. They only cared about themselves and maybe a few around them. But they know that their numbers are dwindling. They're at a negative birth rate. So they could care less what happens in the next 100 years or 200 years. Like, why should we really entertain some of these things that they're doing that, you know, we will have to deal with? And you know, who knows how long it'll be? But it's like, I mean, if I don't know, well, maybe they're trying to find something to regenerate themselves. I don't know, but to me, it's just some senseless act. Because
I thought you was finna say they want to just burn the house down on their way out the door. Well, that sounds like something a selfish person would do.
Well, that's essentially.
I'm on my way out. Fuck it, burn this bitch down. Can't nobody have nothing.
I am saying that without saying that.
Okay, you know, yeah, I thought that's where you were going. We're trying to find creative ways to say it without saying it. Yeah.
look
Yeah.
at how they don't care. Like majority of them, bro, they have no care for humanity or life or human life. You know, and people say, oh, their kids aren't affected. Their kid, man, hey, when the motherfuckers that's pure evil, a lot of the ones that are up there that are in power that are pure evil, they don't give a damn about their child. If their child was to come out and try to start something like what platform like what you have going, their child would be killed. Like they have no regard. Nobody will get in the way of what they're doing.
I agree with you, Deuce. I think that's
You
true
know,
because some of these people they're so nihilistic or whatever word you want to call it. They're sociopaths. That's what they are, and that's they don't no feelings. It's all about me. I don't care about nothing else. It's just me, and that's it. Like not my kids, my wife, nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hear what you guys are saying, but what about like African Americans is how we can identify and understand exactly where I'm coming from. But then why are we the ones that kill ourselves faster? Because if no one black person ever killed themselves or somebody else,
Well,
we
see,
would
that goes
rule
back.
we would rule the planet.
Well, we're
Literally.
supposed.
Well,
This
but
is a touchy
that's
subject.
that's based on programming,
Yes, that's what I
and
was gonna say.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's been things that has been taught to us, and things placed in front of us purposely to because I mean, drugs before there was drugs rampant, like outside of marijuana, tobacco, like the natural growing things. Before drugs came into a part, that shit wasn't happening. So
Cocaine is a natural growing thing.
well,
not
but
crack.
it's also but that the way it's
It's
processed.
manipulated.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
So
the
that's what
ancients, I was studying in my class. They had some stuff they drank. It was kind of like a coffee, but it was basically just like a whole
a
bunch of
tea,
caffeine. I
a
think
tea.
whatever it was, but it was a whole bunch of caffeine, and they would drink this like before they go to war or something like that, or go on a hunting. They use different kinds of drugs like that. They, and so like that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But I get what your point is, Pat, because Elliot, you're saying that the cocaine, but I'm saying you're right, Pat, that they did use that, like the Aboriginals, right? They gave them the blankets, they gave them opium. What else you want? Alcohol.
It's
The
I
fucking
would say
Aboriginals are
I
alcoholics
would
to
say
this
it's
day.
hybridized, like it's a hybrid. And so when you add something to it, when you put some energy on top of it, and you put it out there to destroy, that's what it's gonna do.
Oh,
Well,
okay. So you're talking about alchemy. Wait a minute, because you're talking about the intentions
Dude,
that was
they
placed.
look. I started researching like what drugs had in it when I started researching what melanin was. Melanin is the void. Melanin is carbon. Melanin is 666. Melanin is what's 666? Come on, Kings. Y'all got me
Carbon. You
right.
already
It's
said it. Carbon.
I know, but
neutral.
they said neutrons, protons, and electrons.
Yeah.
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 Dude, they were put when they said they put that in crack, that made me look at crack as a whole nother perspective. I'm like, oh shit. So this took over a whole generation because I believe people were killed, and I think that their melanin was extracted from their bodies, however you synthesize it and put it in the drug, but it took over it took over that part of the people. You could control them through alchemy and magic.
Okay. Wait, you're talking about two different things though, bro, because you're talking about what the
No, I'm not.
ingredients are. Wait, let's clear it up because the ingredients can't be the alchemy has to do with the intention. You know what I'm saying? Because something.
Can you so can you turn lead into gold?
No, I can't. But
Okay. Can you do it with your mind?
possibly.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what it is. Well, we're going real deep when we saying changing
Yeah,
it
y'all
to
fucking
gold,
me up with it.
but I'm talking about the intention. Let's bring it back. Let's roll it back a little bit because I know what you're talking about, though, Elliot.
Well, we change gold into paper with our mind. If you think about cash,
So let's bring it back a little bit. So, but I'm talking about the intentions, okay? When you make something, like your mom makes the sandwich, she makes the soup for you so you can feel healthy, you know, some chicken feet soup. You sick, she making you chicken feet soup and you eat it and now you feel better. It's not necessarily because of those ingredients. It was because of the intention that she put on it. That's the alchemy.
Oh, we
Okay.
talked about that with food, of course. I
Right.
can agree with
So
I can
that's
agree
the
with
same.
that
That's the
aspect of it.
that's the same
That sounds
thing with the drug because you're
Well,
consuming it.
you know about placebos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that are fake really have an effect on people's life. It might not even be the real thing.
Right.
When you
That's
smoke
true.
when you smoke weed, you know it's
do it with
weed.
sugar. They do it
Right.
with sugar
If you feel
tablets.
something different, you like, oh, some shit was added to it or something because weed doesn't do certain things.
And it's so chemical now. I don't trust it at all, bro. I'm so scared. I ain't gonna lie. And what you just said is heavy. And then look at the smell of it now. Like it all smells the same. So you smell that smell. Oh, it's gas. No, that's
Oh, it
that chemical
attached,
shit.
yep, it attached. And then somebody was like, they're putting fentanyl in weed, and I was like, why would you even contaminate that plant? That plant has so many municipal and humanic purposes or whatever. My thing is like, why would you contaminate it? Like, what are you doing? Like, I said fentanyl. Like, why would somebody put fentanyl in weed?
Well,
To
that's why
put
you
you on
gotta
that
question.
heroin.
Yeah,
But see,
because you be
that's
like,
why you
oh,
gotta
that was
Put
that
you on that
gas.
dog food.
Yeah, that's
But
what they trying to do. Yeah.
but that's why you gotta question the intent. But the main thing about your original question is that when you take hope from a people and they
It's
don't really
cut with
see.
something.
No. What I'm saying is when you take hope from a people,
Oh, hope. I'm sorry. Okay, brother. Sorry.
yeah, when you take hope from a people, they act erratically.
Yeah.
And so when you're deprived of the essential things of life, yeah, you don't really see much to live for, and you don't value you because I mean a lot of times if you don't value yourself, you're not going to value the people around you. So that's why you can see that happening in mass numbers with, melanated people that you do see killing themselves. Because, I mean, it's not as many as, I mean, there's still a bunch of us, that's not even wired that way or even, that's in those same situations that do it. But for some of those who may have chemical imbalances that don't have the resources to correct themselves. I mean, we went through a whole era like through the 80s where people were criminalized for doing drugs, but then we come to more recent times, there's others who, get whatever help they need. Like they find ways to help one group when they, could have done the same for any group that had any issues. Even if we go to like the people we call Native Americans and all of their alcohol issues with alcohol. No, they fed that and try to promote that because really they want to extinguish anybody that can have some power that matches their own.
So it ain't no
That's
coincidence that you got a bunch of alcoholic Indians because Indians didn't like that shit. They didn't. Native Americans didn't like that shit. They was against it. They had they had a name for it. It was a derogatory name. But damn, what was I gonna say?
well, even with the example of China, when Europe was sending in all of that opium, and like China was like, hell no, we know what this can do. Like they knew the effects, and they shut off all of the all of the opium import that came in because they wanted to build their system up. But that's what we find the opposite in this country.
Yeah, so
Damn,
pacifying.
Hey, when there's not too many people in this world that can make me like have a blank thought on certain things because a normal person always has opinions, and you're exactly on point. What did this country go to war for? Opium to control that. If you
Yeah,
ever have you ever went
Yeah.
to a methadone clinic
Afghanistan.
or some shit like that, you see people come out, they look like walking zombie. All the calves pulling up, taking care
Yeah,
of the people. It's controlled. So I'm like, if I go to school for 20 years, or well, yeah, we'll say it was like in our time, 20 years. So I'm a legal drug dealer now. When the shit's on the street, you come in the office, you
yeah,
come in my office
and that's how
for a
you make the
broken
good
arm.
money.
Yeah, you make crazy money because you're
That's them
taxing it
big
like
time. Them
10
niggas is
times over.
they're the biggest dope
They the
boys.
biggest drug dealers, yeah, on God. Yeah, they are. With a white coat
Yeah.
and a stethoscope, yeah, you the
Making
biggest drug dealer. You the biggest drug
making
dealer in
cake,
America.
making cake, making cake, pulling off in Maseratis,
But
nigga.
bro. Look, they are past double dippers. Like they got it like 10 times because, okay, they 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 make money when when it's imported. They make money when it's sold on the black market. They make money when they arrest people. Then they take the same drugs and put it right back on the street again in somebody else's hands. Like,
And then they got the nerve to cut the shit when they put it on the street. Not a natural form because when all the movies say, oh yeah, when it's pure, oh they be like, man, that's some shit I ain't never touched. But then when they hit the street, the motherfuckers like, oh you put your stamp on it,
well,
but that don't mean shit.
well,
That
yeah,
shit.
because I'm gonna tell you. Look, there's when you're over in
That's
Colombia and
messed up. Well,
Nicaragua, and stuff,
you gotta worry about
they
the cops stepping on the cup on the dope, bro. Damn.
Hey, the same cop that'll pull you over and take you to jail for some shit, he
And
using that
then
shit at home.
they
He at
step
home
on it.
high as hell.
They
Fuck
step
out of
on it.
here.
They step on it and then sell it right back to your ass after you get out of jail.
well
They like,
look,
nigga,
but
nigga, that ain't no secret society. That's just a dumb motherfucker that don't know how to move their shit. Stay at home when you high and cut the bullshit. How are you making money?
yeah,
What are you doing? Do we gotta take you to jail or do you gotta fucking work 8 hours a day to make $130? If that, depending on minimum wage.
uh,
Like,
yeah.
get the fuck out of
But
here.
but look, when y'all really think about it, when it comes down to cocaine and the form in which the ancients had it, like you said, with making teas or even chewing it, like because I mean it was kind of like what they did with the tobacco. I don't know if they ever smoked it, but I know that they made
Yeah. No.
teas
Yep.
and maybe different little elixirs that may have helped with different ailments. But the form in which they're processing it now, it's like a bunch of fillers, which it a lot of that shit may need to be cut to some extent. But either way, the form in which the ancients had it and the way that we have it today is totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's crazy, bro. Like I remember growing up, and when I grew up in Louisiana, I had a cousin, that dude was so strung out on cocaine, bro. Like he snorted that shit morning, noon, and night, like literally. But I remember, like, dude go to sleep, like all while he was awake, he was fine. But the minute he fall asleep, bro, his nose, I mean, he would just fucking bleed out globs of blood out of his nose, and I'm like, and I remember my grandmother telling him, like, man, you need to chew that shit. Like put that shit in between your lip and your gums and stop snorting it because you fucking your nose up. And I mean, but that just comes from them old school way they did it, you
What?
know. And she was talking about how my grandfather and them they used to chew on coke leaves, you know what I'm saying, all day long out in the fields. You know what I'm saying? They would chew on that shit, you know.
How your
Yeah,
ass going?
that was for the snorting became a big deal because it was a rush.
Yeah.
So I mean, just the actual, what the cocaine can do for you, because I'm sure there's some medicinal purposes that's is used for, but I mean, people started snorting it so that it went straight to the brain into your blood system, and that, you know, it was like I said, it's just mainly a rush. It wasn't, you know, just like a, you know, sipping a wine, you know, sipping some wine and, you know, gradually getting into a different state of being. But that's the, oh, and then when they did crack, crack was a whole nother thing, beaming straight up.
For cheap. We don't. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants that. Let me play a bit more democracy now.
Back in the United States, Immigration and Customs Enforcement has ordered its lawyers to try to close cases that are considered low priority, according to the agency's enforcement guidelines. It's a move that could potentially clear out hundreds of thousands of deportation and asylum cases pending in immigration courts. There's currently a backlog of some 1.7 million cases. This comes as 3 states, Missouri, Arizona, and Louisiana, have sued the Biden administration over its plan to terminate the contested Title 42 policy in May. Under the Trump-era measure, asylum seekers at the U.S.-Mexico border are quickly expelled without due process or a review of their asylum claims. The Senate has advanced the nomination of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. 3 Republicans joined all 50 members of the Senate Democratic Caucus in a procedural vote Monday evening that sets up a final vote on Jackson's confirmation by the end of the week. This comes despite 11 Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee voting earlier on Monday against recommending Jackson's confirmation. Democrat Cory Booker had this response for his Republican colleagues.
How qualified do you have to be, double Harvard? How qualified do you have to be clerking at all levels of the federal judiciary? How qualified do you have to be? 3 times confirmed by the Senate in a bipartisan manner.
I wonder if he rubbed any.
But to me, that dude right there, I can't stand that, bro. That dude, bro.
He's funny though. But I wonder if he rubbed that sanitizer on his head.
But man, you know what? I don't need entertainment in our Senate, bro. We need people that's gonna get shit done. Fuck entertainment. We need people that's gonna.
But see, that's the whole thing. I mean, at the place we are in America, like the moral thread is diminishing, and you know, the more we support things that is against nature, the faster we're gonna fall. And it's just like, to me, like, I think that's one of the reasons why she's getting, like, they're having a lot of trouble with getting her, you know, pushing the nominee through, is because of the things that, you know, she doesn't have a firm stand on anything.
She's going in. It ain't gonna be.
I mean, she's educated as hell, but I mean, she's like, it's all theater, man. I used to get into these sessions like a motherfucker, but now I'm like, I'd rather watch the Saturday Night Live skit about it. Yeah, I'd rather watch that. Because it's the same thing. The Saturday Night Skit is a parody of a parody. You know what I'm saying? I guess so, man. But I don't know. I guess I'll take it a little bit more serious than that, because I mean, you know, yeah, it'll be beautiful to have a you know, black person, period, and then a black woman. But at the same time, it's like, you know, are you gonna do more harm, or are you really here to try to help and, you know, bring some clarity to the cases that you're gonna come across? Like, that's where I'm like, I mean,
I don't think it matters. The integrity of the Supreme Court, as far as the view of the Supreme Court, is tainted, bro. And ever since 2001, when George W. Bush became president, you know, and that's when I became more aware of it. And then when I started looking at the history of it, anyways, it's been compromised.
When you bring that up, that just reminds me of how screwed we are. I mean, you know, overall, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it don't matter, because I mean, the whole government is screwed, like every part of it.
And we need to fundamentally change this shit. We can't just be talking about who's the president. That's not gonna fix the problem. We need to change fundamentally.
Yeah, I know, but it's the intricate things that really make the difference. I mean, there's, you know, like she's gonna have a hard, like a real big job that, and where, you know, if, you know, like our children and our grandchildren's future is going to depend on a lot of stuff that's probably going to run into her court, especially when the Democrats are pushing, you know, they're going to try to get it into her court. If they can push her around, or, you know, which, I mean, I'm sure it happens on both sides, but like that's the whole point. Like the government is screwed from every which direction. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I mean, everybody's trying to manipulate their power as much as possible. And, you know, like I said, I mean, how
Yeah.
and that's the thing. How do we change it? What steps need to take? I mean, other
Well,
than, you know,
well, first off is
knocking them
money.
off individually.
The money in politics. That's one of the things we have to focus on. We have to focus on making it people have the ability to actually vote, like everybody vote. Maybe have an app or something that makes it way more easily and accessible for everyone to vote. And then, you know, good tracking. And we also need to educate people about, like, it's so hard to learn about the damn nominees. Whenever you do vote, it's like 22,000 of them. And then it's hard as hell to find out about them,
And it's
about
and then the people
how
who
what they feel about topics. You know,
yeah,
they don't never
and then
cover
the
that in the
information is
news
biased. The information is always biased. I don't care what side it is.
because you're gonna get it from their website. Like, you got to go to their website to find out information about them. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is that system is just all fucked up. You know, that's it right there. That's one of the main parts.
See, but the thing about it is we're relying on the fucked up people to change the fucked up system. Like,
And it ain't gonna happen
and it exists the way it is because
of
them.
those same people.
Yeah.
So it ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. Not in a million years. And then these old folks are still in the fucking office, and they're gonna be there when my old dad, when I get old.
All right. Well, you know what? I think you need to calm down, because you sent me some videos that would lead me to believe you feel differently than what you're speaking right now.
And I'm optimistic. I am, but I feel like I'm like an anarchist, because I feel like we gotta completely change. Like, it gotta be like a revolution. The changes have to be dramatic.
But see, that I just asked you. I said, what can we do other than knocking each one of the head off individually? Like, bring them all to the middle of the Capitol lawn and hang.
I don't condone. No, I don't condone that at all. But what I do feel like is just turn the whole fucking thing upside down, bro. Make them have no power overnight, and rebuild the system in the right way for the people.
Well, when we know that there's systems that's directly against us, and we keep saying that, you know, whether they're there or not doesn't, you know, if we have another person that promotes the negative side of our government or our lives as a you know, United States citizens, like, how can we say that it doesn't matter? Like, I mean, each person
it
that
does.
we bring in,
It does. You know, I'm nihilist to a certain extent, but you know, I'm into politics and I tend to vote. But I just don't kid myself. You know what I'm saying? The Supreme Court, her nomination, the difference that it's gonna make is like null and void. 5-4, 6-3 votes on everything. She's gonna be on. Already know which side she's gonna be on most topics. It'll be a couple of them that she's gonna swing on and surprise people, but that's about it. So everything whatever they're trying to put up into the Supreme Court that's gonna pass, they're gonna pass it. So I'm sorry to feel this way, but you know, the fact that she's a black woman and all of that shit, it don't matter.
That's the part. Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's more so what you're leaning to, because, like I said, I mean, look, on that part, yes, I'm very partial. But when it really comes down to the shit that matters, that's where I'm like, I don't know. Like, we really need to, like, is that something we really should support? Because I mean, down the road, it'll be some shit that we're gonna be like, I knew it.
Okay. We need to clarify one thing about what the Supreme Court actually does. They don't actually create laws or make new laws or anything like that. They don't pass laws. All they do is when a court case is brought to them, what they do is say this is constitutional or this is not. That's actually all they do. They interpret the laws as to whether or not they're constitutional.
Yeah, but their interpretation of the laws is what changes the laws. Like the interpretation of the law is the law.
It becomes standard for all legislation. It is the highest legislation, so everything below that will go with it. So yeah, they have a lot of power, but they don't actually create laws. All they can do is make ruling on judgments that have already been passed.
Yeah, I understand that. But the people who know how to game the system, they put a certain thing in the system, and then they sue it on unconstitutional grounds, and then it keeps going up in the court system and makes it to the Supreme Court, and they had an agenda the whole time. They knew what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, now let me ask this, because this is something I'm not certain about, not like really, trying to get an answer for it. Like when, because, we've seen in some of these court cases where they can, omit certain evidence that could be pertinent to a case so that, specifically can, like something that has strong evidence can't be used because of whatever reason. Is that the same? Can they do the same thing on that level? Court?
Yes, they're judges. They get to decide how they come at it and everything, But like Doc's saying, a good Supreme Court justice, they're going to try to follow the Constitution to the letter, and they're going to try to interpret the law through the Constitution to the letter, to the best of their ability. Everybody is human, you know what I'm saying? And also, interpretations can be a little bit different from one person to the next.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like that's just another way to manipulate, the system to where they can pass.
That's my point. Especially if you know which side is going to go on. If you have, let's say, you have some kind of influence over, how the Supreme Court makeup ends up ideologically. You know what I mean? Philosophically, as far as on the right or on the left, because the majority of the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court is a 6-3, those 3 votes don't mean nothing. The 6 is what matter. Y'all get what I'm saying? So the overall is that, because that's going to be the final say on whatever the hell it is that comes to them.
But I mean, see, if there's certain principles that's implemented throughout the 9 that will, regardless, I mean, we should still come
and that would be nice. And that would be nice. I think that the structure is there. It's just the integrity is not. We have money into politics. They have other side interests. Everybody, look at what's happening with what's his name right now? The older black dude. I can't think of his name right now. Justice Thomas. Look what's going on with him. It definitely looks like he has something kind of like, personal kind of thing going on in some specific issues. So what I'm saying is,
recently or back in the 80s or the 90s?
No, recently. You haven't heard about his wife in the stock trade? Not the stock trading, the fucking January 6th. Anyways.
Oh, yeah. I heard about his wife being involved in that. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a real thing. But what I'm saying is, like, sometimes you have like Scalia. Scalia, when he was alive, sometimes he would make a difference, because a lot of times, really he was the conservative one. So if we had a couple of conservative ones that was on there that would swing kind of like Scalia did, then maybe it'll be a little bit more balanced. But there ain't gonna be no balance in the Supreme Court for 100 years, bro, unless something dramatically changes.
Shit, 100 years. I mean, shit. We talking about bro, within the next 10 to 20 years, it's gonna be so many significant changes to where like we
Not on the
talk
Supreme
about
Court.
being no, I'm talking about like
They all young now too. There's only how many old ones are left? We only got like them
no,
people that been put in there. They're gonna be in there for the rest.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, man.
That's hot shit right there, man.
So what we gonna do?
We want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley.